Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. It's Kate. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Thank you so much for subscribing. Kindly, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Anyway, guys, today I just wanted to talk about intermittent fasting. I'm sure almost everybody has at some point had intermittent fasting. Maybe some people do not understand much about intermittent fasting, but anyway, guys, today I'm here to explain what intermittent fasting is. We may not discuss everything in this video, but I'll be doing a series of videos until I'm done discussing intermittent fasting. Anyway, guys, intermittent fasting is a voluntary form of fasting. Nobody forces you to do intermittent fasting. So it actually focuses on when to eat. Unlike other forms of diet, which focuses on what to eat, intermittent fasting actually focuses on when to eat. It actually restricts the amount of calories you take in a day, probably for different reasons. People do intermittent fasting for weight loss. People do intermittent fasting to just stay healthy. Other people do it for a lot of health benefits. Intermittent fasting has got a lot of health benefits. Anyway, the things you need to know about intermittent fasting is that intermittent fasting actually focuses on some specific hours that you're supposed to be eating and some specific hours that you're supposed to be fasting. We know there are different forms of fasting, of course. Intermittent fasting has different forms of fasting. Some people, there are also religious forms of fasting. Some people actually fast unknowingly. At some point, you find yourself, for people who work mostly in the offices, somebody sits down, they probably just took breakfast, but then when you sit down, you don't actually find time to eat anything until in the evening. That is a form of intermittent fasting, though you're doing it unknowingly. But one thing that you realize for sure is the fact that at some point, if you give your body time to rest, like if you're not eating all throughout from morning to evening, you realize that there's a form of healthiness that just happens to your body. You feel free, you kind of feel healthy, you don't have a clogged system. And that should be literally everybody's aim. So, guys, talking about intermittent fasting, I want to talk about the first type of intermittent fasting, which is actually probably the easiest, the overnight fasting. So, it's just as it sounds, overnight fasting. It means you don't eat probably at night. You avoid the bedtime snacks. So, this basically means you're fasting for 12 hours, and these 12 hours probably means you could stop eating by 7 p.m. and then resume your meals by 7 a.m. That means the first meal you'll be taking is breakfast. That is actually very easy because usually people are not even supposed to be eating past 7. You should be sleeping in an empty stomach, all that digestion and everything should have taken place by the time you're going to bed. So anyway, guys, when you're talking about overnight fasting, you're talking about restricting calories intake for 12 hours. We have 24 hours in a day. Obviously 12 hours during the day, 12 hours during the night. Actually, there's a habit. Some people have a habit of eating during at night. It might not be like at night. Some people actually eat up to 9 p.m., which is actually very bad. You should stop eating as early as possible in the evening so that you sleep in an empty stomach. You give your body time to process everything that you've eaten probably during the day. So, guys, if you're looking forward to fasting for weight loss, this might not be the best for you because you're doing literally the bare minimum. You're only doing the necessary. Your fasting window is probably the same as your eating window, which means you're eating normal basically. So you might not enjoy the advantages of fasting when it comes to overnight fasting for weight loss. This might not be like so effective for you. There are other methods of fasting. They might be a little bit extreme, but it's actually worth it because like nothing just happens. That the body, the kind of body you want, it will not just happen when you're doing nothing. You have to work for it. So, guys, like I've said, the overnight fasting basically means all you do is to avoid the bedtime snacks. You eat maybe until 7 p.m. That is when you start fasting. You'll probably be sleeping, so you won't even feel it much because anyway, you're resting. And then you resume your meals by by 7 a.m. That is probably your breakfast. So most of the people who do overnight fasting are healthy, yes. It actually feels so good. But then if you're doing fasting for weight loss, this is not so effective, like I've said, because you won't be enjoying the advantages of this kind of fasting, because you'll probably be eating your 3 meals during the day, normal water intake. It's not like other forms of fasting where you give your body a lot of time to go into ketosis or calorie deficit. We had talked about that before. Anyway, guys, this is the simplest form of fasting. You can try it out, because I'm sure many people eat their meals until like 9 p.m. is when they go to bed, probably going to bed in a full stomach, which is very uncomfortable personally for me. So you can try. Most of the times when somebody is looking out for the form of intermittent fasting to do for weight loss, you can start with this, because probably you're used to eating normal heavy meals during the day. You can start by doing overnight fasting as you actually graduate into more intense forms of intermittent fasting. Anyway, guys, be very careful before you start intermittent fasting, because it's also kind of complicated, especially if you have most of these metabolic complications, if you have cardiovascular diseases, if you're not healthy generally. Be very careful, because when your body goes into a calorie deficit, most of the times it's not a joke. I'm sure if you've done it before, you understand what I mean. Anyway, guys, have a good day. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.